So let's do it. So do you want to start this time?
No, it needs to be you.
Yeah?
Of course.
All right, we're going to do a little walkthrough. Who's good at...
A walkthrough
how to do
always
that?
in the same position. Like with a walkthrough, just standing.
Hi. We're going to give a short introduction to the exhibition. Hi. And I want to thank you all for coming. Welcome everyone to the WADES. And also a special thanks to a range of people who are here who have supported us along the way. Pedro and Miguel Nabino are both here, longtime friends and supporters of JOTTA. And then Pedro and Duarte from the Portuguese consulate are also here. Great support also for this exhibition. And then then ultimately, the main reason we're all here, I just want to point out JOTTA, who is, and then my co-conspirator here, Miguel Wandschneider, who is a long-term friend of Anna's. And I would say the world expert on her work, and a very brilliant curator who we've known each other for a long time. And so we were able to kind of have a long-standing conversation over the course of many years about Anna's work in general, and that led ultimately to this show. And so just to say a few words of introduction. Anna has been working for a long time and has made a lot of different work over the course of many decades. I'm very proud from the perspective of the WADES to be the first ones to show her work here in the US. Anna has had a illustrious career in Europe. She's had a career retrospective at the Serralves Museum in Porto, which is the main museum in Portugal. So she is a very well-known, prominent figure, but that work has not made its way over here, and so it's a point of pride from us here at the WADES to be able to introduce an American audience to an amazing figure in Portugal, and a really unique voice. This exhibition really is, Anna over the course of all those years has worked on a very wide range of kind of bodies of work. And she spends a few years working and developing a particular aesthetic vocabulary, and then when she's done with that, she almost deliberately and very self-consciously changes course dramatically and does something that completely doesn't resemble that. Different media, different iconography, different just scale, so she really is someone who is actively trying to not only get rid of this notion of a quote signature style and to have something that people can recognize as being a kind of brand of JOTTA, but really kind of work against how that oftentimes takes over an artist's practice. But also just this constant trying to second guess, contradict herself, and kind of add complexity to what she makes. And so when it comes to making an exhibition of that work, it's not easy, because either you need a building the size of SF MoMA, and Rudolf is here, and he can then take up the baton and give the whole building to Anna to do a show that you would need to do to be able to show the massive heterogeneity of what it is that she makes. In our scale, we wanted to, Miguel and I started talking about how is it that we can find some framework, some kind of narrative, some thread throughout such diversity, such diverse approaches that can make sense as an exhibition, that can share a particular perspective on the work, that can share an aspect of the work, that can share a way of thinking and a way of working, we can use as a way to kind of bring together not everything that she's done, but a particular aspect of what her work is. Maybe I'll pass it on now to Miguel to say more about that.
Well, I have not much to say, but taking from what you've said, when Anna did this retrospective exhibition at the Serralves Museum, this was in 2005, she was pretty much in charge of the display, of making the decisions regarding the display. And so she was putting this group of works in one room and that other group of works in another room. And so she was somehow reconstituting the families. And in 2014, Anna did an exhibition in Lisbon. We did it together. And my proposal to Anna was to get rid of the families, of the groups, of the series, and just see what happens when you put disparate works in conversation. The metaphor I used was to put her individual works, the ones we selected, in the mixer. And so in this show, you have an indication of this modus operandi of producing groups of works, like the leather pieces. But for the rest, we have selected individual works without aiming at bringing the whole bunch, the whole family. So, for example, this embroidery and that one were produced in the same period, and they are part of a group of embroideries. Anna, between 93 and 95, was producing mostly embroideries and drawings. These ones are from 93 or 4. Yeah, from the toilet paper. But in this exhibition, you find different examples. For example, this is from 2008, and it's one of a group of 16 paintings on screen, each one very particular or specific, very different from the others in terms of the imagery, so let's say it like that. But you have works that Anna calls only child, the only child. So that self-portrait over there, Esperança, it's an only child. This wonderful green wooden piece is the only child. The embroidery at the entrance, stage door, the title, is the only child. So basically, we had no rules in terms of chronology, and like we just, I mean, was pretty much like being in the playground. I mean, this covers pretty much the whole trajectory of Anna. That zigzag wooden piece is from 1980. The most recent piece would be the Leporello from 2021. But there were no rules to have fun in the playground and to come up with this exhibition. So that's what we did.
Let me contradict that in Anna's spirit. There was definitely some guiding principle, as we describe a little bit in this wall introduction, is this notion of drawing. Now, to draw, taken both literally, like crayon on paper, like what we think of as a drawing, but also to make sure that we kind of use drawing as more in a more metaphorical way, or as Miguel put, drawing as a verb, drawing as something, as a way to make, as a way to think. You can draw, literally, drawing on a surface, but you can also draw out connections between things that usually are not connected, right? You can draw from the world, draw, meaning take and appropriate, like the logo from the toilet paper brand that Anna pointed to. That's a kind of example of how much of the importance of kind of drawing from the world. You can draw, this notion of lines as obviously something that is throughout this exhibition. Writing is a way of, using lines to create the shape of letters is another form of kind of using the what? And life is also a line? Yeah. And life is also a line. And so I think that became some kind of a framework that we could use to help make selections that then allowed us to say, okay, yes, there is crayon on paper, but there's marker on screen, there's thread, the stitches in leather, there is, thread on cloth, there is knife on wood, scratching these various, there is cables, there's found materials put in this kind of, not only in the form of letters, but in the form of some kind of composition on that wall. And then, of course, there's actual live drawing site-specifically directly on the wall. And so that allowed us to be specific in the sense of the idea of drawing, but also for that one word or that one motif, I hope to have a huge range and diversity in this exhibition, so it's not just a series of marks on paper, but that it all is related and connected, but somehow gets at this kind of way in which Anna can take something so basic and just make sure it's as complicated as possible and make sure it's constantly taken away from itself. The Anna's process is very much based in everyday life. It's very much, she places her faith in the fact that she will, as she goes through the business of life, whether it's waking up, making breakfast, going for a walk, going shopping, all of those experiences and will lead to physical encounters with a cloth, a letter, an image, a logo, a shape, all of that is just something that you bump, the small mini encounters that make up all of our lives. And that is the raw material of this work. She doesn't, start off with, I have an idea. I'm going to make an artwork about XY topic, and I'm going to make an artwork that proves the point of XY idea. That's not her process. Her process is very much, I'm going to kind of live my life, and I'm going to extract and draw from the material realities and the material conditions of me as I live my life in the world, as no one else does. It's just the specificity of her existence, and allow that to provide the starting point and the raw materials to then take these fabrics that she finds or these images that she sees and observes and notices and recognizes that these things contain in them something more than what they are just on the logo of the toilet paper or the kitchen cloth that she was using to dry her dishes with, that there's something in what these objects are that might be able to when brought into the space of art, can tell another story, can do something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, we did indeed follow, and rightly so, a specific framework. So the exhibition doesn't follow any kind of randomness in the working process. But the exhibition is not trying to encompass or represent the whole scope of Anna's practice and work. It would be actually ridiculous or naive or stupid to do so or to try to do so. So we're not, this exhibition is not, this exhibition should be taken by what it is. And I would recommend not to make extrapolations from this exhibition regarding Anna's practice and work, because this is not a sample of the universe of Anna's work. Okay, so it doesn't have that. I mean, it's what it is. Anna's work is much more diverse, heterogeneous, and the field of possibilities she has explored throughout the years, throughout more than 40 years of an ongoing practice, are much wider than what you can see here. So I would just shut up by saying I hope you have the chance to encounter Anna's work in other circumstances, and that it won't be for you a déjà vu.
All right. Yeah, I think that's a good enough of an introduction that gives a taste. There's a little. I encourage people to. Miguel and I had a little conversation where we tried to unpack a little bit about what's going on in this show that you can read. Anna very generously illustrated it with some new.
Very well. The first time I had a conversation which makes sense for me.
Thank you. That's very nice. That's very nice.
Overwhelmed for all this.
That's very nice to hear. This is the best you could ask from an artist, to find that this show is a source of. Thank you, Anna. Yeah. Okay.
So that's it.
That's it. Have a drink, stick around, and happy to answer any questions about individual things. And Anna is also either here or in
there.
the bar. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.